Oh, you get used to the beastie's smell, I hear. This box once tailed a chugga-chugga. Now it's just off track. Gizmo will always make time for you. We'll be around when you return. You need to point its face in the right direction. This is called Suburbia, a place to get away from the city stink. Sky's getting darker. There it is, the tree of life. The idea that all life is related by common descent, where the twigs are existing species and those produced in the past represent the succession of the extinct. The tree's great branches were once budding twigs, a connection between the past, present, and future. A representation of all extinct and living species with its ever-branching and beautiful ramifications. We are an evolution of those that came before. Don't let your mount ignore you. The yerp fields, where the echo of your actions resounds clearer than any other place you'll find, except for where that's not true. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. It's easy to lose track of time down here. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility. Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots. He promises he'll be there for you. Just come talk to him beneath the tree if you're feeling lost. Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things. If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark. He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive. Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees. He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core. The contamination disrupted what we now know as Ki energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate. He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head. It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real. He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground. The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out. He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark, in the event of a cataclysm. Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy. He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast. Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Goop. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The Porky Puff needs to be handled. Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast Worldeater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the Worldeater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He says you really need to go see Goop as soon as possible. He wonders what's on your mind. Says you'll see each other later. Move before it decides to have lunch. It's PEEKABOO Park. Young ones love this sort of place. That there's SUBNAUTICA Station. Goop flounders around in there. Get things done before the darkness falls again.
Says
it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He can't tell you much, as he didn't want to hear anything about it. He can't understand how someone could be so vicious, even though he knows there are reasons behind it. He understands you've returned to face Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He understands why you seek revenge, but he doesn't think you realize how that'll make you feel once you claimed it.
Only the dark speaks in absolutes. Well, not only.
Oh, get snuffed, light.
Let the light shine!
Light eventually burns out. Just saying.
Can hardly believe the world thanks you for doing everything you could to de-goop the surf. But hey, back to the goo. He can't leave the SUBNAUTICA station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his googlide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the googlide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. It's not that it won't keep your head above the surface, but it needs improving to carry you across the thick goo out by the Porky Puff. The Tree of Life still stands. Question is, for how long? world needs saving. Make the most of the day. Stabbing from a distance. Darkness is crawling over the sky. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. He's got the googlide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the googlide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks, squeaky distractions for the triple attentive Porky Puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. That's where he bobs. Gulp refuses to move from that barge, despite the fact it makes him burf. Goop's not sure, though, if it's the surf sickness or the radium syrup that causes it. Are you sure this googlide's safe? You're poking around Hockbur, a prime village. This here is the SINKIDINK, home of Gulp, at the very least.
Ja.
Let's see.
Ja.
He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Says it's both everything you could want and never enough.
Ja.
Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, but that's nowhere near as quick and easy. Who wants to stop to chew? Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Something calm and soothing for your belly. Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Says that's what gives your internals such a great glow. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surf Archipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Time for a wave ride, I think. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. The story will go on as long as there is someone there to listen. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. You'd better get a move on if you want to change things. Hold on tight. Get off and slow down a bit. That's enough quacks to sustain the googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. He seems happy to talk. Understands you have other places you need to go. Let's see. The forest has so many kinds of trees. Beats swimming. Just makes you want to lie down on the sand. What you do here matters to you and the world. A peak spot is a great place to stand if you want to see things for what they are. You can never have too much scrap, plastic or otherwise. At this speed, the goo is sublime. This is HOBYDUNK, a homey little village. It's the Porky Puff nibbling bug. It took quite a liking to the crunchy stuff after munching down out-of-date's leg. feel it? It's the brisk wind of change. Don't let this opportunity slide. He thanks you for dealing with another world eater. You're halfway there. He's got word out of date spotted Loopalupin and has a feeling your time has come. He hopes you're up for it. Just head back to the foot of the tree. Fingers crossed Loopalupin will stay put until you're there.